The forest behind my house always felt peaceful. Just old trees, birds singing, sometimes a deer crossing the path. That day, though. That day felt different. Heavy. Quiet. Too quiet. I was following a stream, looking for that spot where Grandpa said he saw blue herons years ago. The ground got mushier, the trees closer together. Sunlight barely made it through the thick leaves. I pushed aside a curtain of scratchy vines, my boots sinking into cold mud, and stumbled into a clearing I'd never seen before. It wasn't much of a clearing. More like a dent in the earth, hidden by a wall of thorns and fallen logs. And right in the middle, half buried under dirt and dead leaves, was a door. A big, heavy metal door. It was greenish-black with rust, like old pennies left in the rain. It leaned inwards, tilted, like the ground had swallowed part of it. Above it, just dirt and roots, like a lumpy hill. My heart did a little jump. An old bunker. Out here. It looked forgotten. Really forgotten. The air felt colder here, like stepping into a fridge. No birds sang. Even the bugs seemed quiet. Curiosity, that sneaky little voice, started whispering in my ear. Asterisk, what's inside? Who built it? Why is it hidden? Asterisk, it sounded way more exciting than looking for birds. I walked closer, the dead leaves crunching way too loud under my feet. The door wasn't shut tight. It was open just a crack, maybe wide enough for me to squeeze through sideways. Darker than anything I'd ever seen waited beyond that crack. It smelled weird. Like wet dirt, old metal, and something else. Something sharp and sour, like old batteries maybe. Not good. I pulled out my phone. No signal. Of course. The flashlight flickered on, cutting a weak yellow beam into the gloom. I took a deep breath, the cold air stinging my lungs. Just a quick look, I told myself. In and out. Squeezing through the gap was hard. Cold, slimy metal scraped against my jacket. The smell got stronger inside, that sour tang mixed with damp stone. My flashlight beam bounced around, weak against the thick darkness. I was in a small room, maybe the size of my bathroom. Concrete walls, cracked and weeping dark stains. Water dripped somewhere, a slow, steady plink, plink, plink that echoed. Opposite the door I'd squeezed through was another doorway, just a black hole leading deeper in. No door on it. The floor was covered in thick mud and slimy gunk. My boots made sucking noises as I took a step. I aimed the light at the walls. There were marks. Deep scratches, like something heavy had been dragged. Long, thin scrapes too, higher up. My skin prickled. Hello. I called out. My voice sounded small and swallowed by the dark. Anyone here? Silence. Just the dripping. And, was that a whisper? Or just the wind finding its way through the crack in the door? I couldn't tell. My neck felt cold. I pointed the light at the floor near the inner doorway. More mud, but something else. Shapes pressed into it. Big, round shapes, like footprints, but too big for a person, and weirdly deep at the front, like claws had dug in. My mouth went dry. Animal, I thought. Asterisk, just a big animal. Bear maybe, asterisk, but why would a bear come down here? Curiosity, mixed with a growing knot of fear in my stomach, pushed me towards the inner doorway. I stepped through. A corridor. Long and straight, vanishing into blackness. My little light barely reached 10 feet ahead. The air was even colder here, smelling stronger of rust and that sourness. The walls were lined with thick pipes, some broken, hanging down like dead metal snakes. Wires spilled out of openings in the concrete ceiling. I started walking, slowly. My footsteps echoed weirdly, like someone was walking just behind me. I kept glancing back, but only saw the shrinking rectangle of gray light from the entrance room. The dripping sound faded, replaced by a low hum I could feel in my teeth more than hear. Like a fridge running in another room. About 20 steps in, I found a room on the left. The door was gone, just an empty frame. I shone my light inside. Empty metal shelves lined the walls, rusted and bent. Nothing on them but dust and cobwebs thick as rope. In the corner lay a pile of rags, dark and moldy. My light caught something pale sticking out. I leaned closer. Bones. Small animal bones. A rabbit maybe. I backed out quickly. Further down the corridor. The hum got louder, vibrating up my legs. Another doorway. This one had a heavy metal door, but it was wide open, hanging crooked on broken hinges. This room was bigger. My light beam swept across it. Desks. Old metal desks, bolted to the floor, covered in dust and papers turned to mush. Big machines stood against the far wall, square boxes with dials and switches, all dark and dead. Wires snaked everywhere. On one wall, someone had painted big, blocky numbers, 7890. White paint, peeling now. Below them, scratched deep into the concrete, was another number, 1. It looked fresh. Or maybe just cleaner than the dust around it. What does that mean? The thought buzzed in my head like a trapped fly. It felt wrong. Important and wrong. Then I saw the cot. A simple metal frame bed, tucked against the wall near the machines. The thin mattress was stained dark. And beside it, on the floor, lay something that made my blood freeze. A shoe. A child's sneaker. Small, red, faded. Covered in the same slimy mud as the floor. My breath caught in my throat. No. No way. Just lost, someone dropped it, but out here. In this buried place. The sour smell seemed stronger here, mixed with something else. Something sickly sweet, like spoiled fruit. The hum vibrated in my skull. I took a step back, my boot slipping on something wet. I grabbed the edge of a desk to steady myself. My hand touched cold metal, and something sticky. I jerked my hand back, shining the light on it. Dark, thick goo. Like oil, but darker. It smelled like the sourness mixed with metal. Panic started as a flutter in my chest. Get out. Now, this wasn't curiosity anymore. This was bad. Really bad. I turned to leave the room, pointing my light back down the corridor towards the entrance. The beam caught movement. Just at the edge of the light, where the darkness swallowed everything, something shifted. Something low to the ground. It wasn't a shape, really. More like a thickening of the shadows, a patch of black darker than the rest, pulling back into the corridor like smoke retreating. My heart hammered against my ribs like a trapped bird. I couldn't breathe. I stood frozen, light trembling in my hand. Silence. Even the hum seemed to pause. Then, from the darkness beyond where I'd seen the movement, came a sound. Scratch, 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 Slow. Deliberate. Like long fingernails dragging slowly down the concrete wall. It wasn't close. But it was down the corridor. The way out. My legs unlocked. Fear, cold and sharp, flooded me. I didn't think. I ran. I bolted out of the machine room, back into the corridor. My light beam bounced wildly, making the pipes and wires jump like monsters. My feet slipped in the mud. I didn't care. I just ran towards the small gray light of the entrance room. Scratch, 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 The sound followed me. Or did it? Was it behind? Or, was it coming from the walls beside me? I couldn't tell. The echoes were crazy. It felt like it was everywhere. Plink, 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 asterisk the dripping was back, louder now. I reached the entrance room. The gray light from outside seemed blindingly bright. I scrambled for the narrow gap in the big metal door, squeezing through, scraping my shoulder hard against the rust. I didn't feel it. I burst out into the clearing. Sunlight. Real air. I gasped, sucking it in. The forest sounds rushed back, birds, wind in the leaves. Normal sounds. I didn't stop. I ran. Through the thorns, through the mushy ground, back towards the stream, back towards the path. Branches whipped my face. I didn't look back. Not once. I only stopped when I reached the old oak tree, the one with the big knot like an eye, near the edge of the normal forest. I bent over, hands on my knees, chest heaving. Sweat poured down my face, mixing with cold fear. I was safe. Out of that place. But as my breathing slowed, a new chill settled over me. It wasn't just the run. It was the silence of the forest around me. The birds had stopped singing again. The air felt thick. Watchful. Slowly, forcing myself, I turned around. I looked back through the trees, towards where I knew that hidden clearing lay. Nothing moved. Just trees and shadows. Then, carried faintly on the still air, so quiet I almost thought I imagined it, came a sound. A low, metallic groan. Like a heavy door, rusted shut for years, slowly, slowly being pushed open from the inside. I didn't wait to hear more. I ran all the way home. I slammed the door, locked it, checked every window. I told myself it was the wind. Old metal settling. My imagination running wild after a scare. But I knew. Deep down, I knew that sour smell. I knew the cold that wasn't natural. I knew the way the shadows moved when they shouldn't. That bunker wasn't just abandoned. Something was in there. Something that didn't belong in the sunlight. Something that knew I'd been inside. I never went back to that part of the forest. Not even close. Sometimes, at night, when the wind howls just right, I swear I can hear it. A faint, distant scratching. Like long nails on stone. Coming from the woods. Getting closer. But maybe that's just the old house settling. Maybe.